Welcome to the 2025 Zero Tolerance Benefit. Please welcome to the stage our host for this evening, Seth Meyers.
Good evening, everybody. How are we doing tonight? It is so lovely to be here. Make some noise if you have been at one of these before. And make some noise if you're a first-timer. Welcome, first-timers. You are in for an incredible evening. My name is Seth Meyers, and I have a wonderful history with this event and this organization, thanks to my wife, Alexi Ash Meyers, who works for Sanctuary Family. Make some noise for Alexi, everybody. Alexi is a lawyer. Make some noise if you're a lawyer. If you are here tonight, you're one of the good ones. And I am always incredibly impressed with anyone who can, pass the bar and go to law school and do everything you do. But I want to talk about the real heroes. Who in this room tonight is married to a lawyer? What a life we have chosen for ourselves. What a terrible, arduous life. It is just so deeply unfair to be married to a lawyer based on how many spousal arguments you have where they just have an incredible advantage. Like, my wife is a former prosecutor, and I feel like in every argument we have, she's also a prosecutor. She just shows up incredibly well prepared, and she has all this evidence ready. And I always feel like I'm like an overworked public defender who just found out I have the case. And I'm just showing up with like papers coming out of my briefcase and like mustard on my tie. And making it worse, my wife is also the judge. Today we are going to obviously be talking about all the great work this organization does for families. And so I would like to just share a quick update on my family. Because in these turbulent times, I think it's very important to find joy wherever you can. I'm getting a lot of joy from my family right now, my children. I have two boys. They are 9 and 7. I have a daughter who is 3. I have something I can't tell if it's very funny or very sad, but I do know it's very interesting. And it's this. My older son really wants to be funny, and my younger one is. It is not even close. Now, the older one is funny all the time, but by accident. He'll ask a genuine question, and he won't understand that there's like an underlying comedy to it. Like the other day, he said to me, "Hey, Dad," and I said, "What?" He said, "I have a question." I said, "What's your question?" He said, "When you die, do I get your show?" And I said, "Of course not, your younger brother does, because he's funny, and he knows he's funny, and he has great comic timing." Now, this isn't funny because he's waking us up at like 5:30 every morning, and we beg him to wait until 7. And the other weekend, my wife said to him, "Here's the deal, Axel. It's Saturday night. You're going to a birthday party on Sunday. If you wake us up before 7, you will not have cake at the birthday party." And this is what my 7-year-old said as he walked out of the room. He goes, "Oh, there's going to be cake? I hope it's good. Actually, I hope it's bad because I'm definitely waking you up." And you might be like, maybe he didn't know he was being funny. I'm like, no, I think when you do the shoulders. My daughter is perfect. How dare you? Shameful how quickly I've turned into a girl dad that has a totally different set of standards for my daughter that I do for my sons. Also, my daughter, not that nice to me. Every morning she walks up to me unprompted and says, "Dada." And I say, "What?" And she goes, "I only love mama." Every morning, no fail. And then the other day she came up to me and goes, "Dada." I go, "What?" And she goes, "I love you a little bit." And my heart melted. And I just realized this is what is so unfair. My daughter says she loves me a little bit. And I'm like, I would do anything for you. If either of my boys said, "I love you a little bit," I would be like, then you're only getting a little bit of fucking dinner. We're also going to talk about parents and the importance of parents. My parents are amazing, and I'm very close to them. And, they're getting older, but it's really impressive. My dad especially. I think as people get older, you almost expect their skills to deteriorate. And yet my dad, as he's getting older, has developed a new skill that I'm just amazed by. My dad has this new ability. He can describe the entire plot of an episode of television in exactly as long as it would take you to watch it. So if you like love Yellowstone but hate the visuals. My mom was recently diagnosed with a condition. The condition is if she doesn't ask me a question every 30 seconds, she dies. My mom asks me questions like she's wearing a wire. She's like, what airline are you flying to get here? I'm like, JetBlue. She's like, what time does it take off? I'm like, 2. She's like, what airport are you going out of? I'm like, LaGuardia. She's like, and if I was looking to move some heroin? We're so genuinely grateful that you chose to join us here tonight. As you'll see over the course of the evening, it really is an exceptional organization. And it is now my pleasure to introduce Sanctuary for Families Chief Executive Officer, the Honorable Judy Harris Kluger.
Good evening, everyone. Seth, thank you for being with us again. We love having you back with Alexi. And to all of you here tonight, welcome. Your presence, 1,000 of you, is powerful, and your support is indispensable. Every day at Sanctuary for Families, we meet survivors in their most vulnerable moments. Adults and children come to us seeking protection, safety, and a path forward. They arrive carrying unimaginable burdens, and it is our privilege and duty to lighten that load. We do this with a model that is both compassionate and bold, comprehensive services paired with fierce advocacy. That's what makes Sanctuary so different and so very effective. Each year, we serve more than 8,500 survivors of gender-based violence through trauma-informed counseling, legal services, economic empowerment programs, and shelter. We help survivors reclaim their lives and build their futures. But today, we and our clients are facing unprecedented challenges. Federal funding cuts are threatening the very lifelines that survivors depend on. And these are not abstract numbers. These are real people who may lose access to safety and security. Survivors will be left vulnerable, physically, economically, and emotionally. And let me be clear, we are doing everything in our power to preserve our critical programs. We are planning, we're strategizing, and fighting. But no matter how resourceful we are, we can't do it alone. We need you, your support, your partnership, and your voices. Gender-based violence doesn't pause for politics. Every survivor who comes to us deserves a full measure of hope and healing. Tonight's theme is the ripple effect. It's more than a metaphor. It's the truth we see every day at Sanctuary. An act of compassion, a donation, a volunteer hour, a show of solidarity can spark profound change. When you help a mother escape an abusive partner, you don't just save one life, you shift the course of her children's lives. You disrupt the cycles of violence and you stop intergenerational trauma in its tracks. Your kindness has the power to expand, echoing across families, communities, and generations. Thank you. I also want to thank our incredible staff for their courage, passion, and commitment, especially today. To our volunteers, board members, and our 4 amazing honorees, thank you for believing in a future where freedom from domestic violence is a basic human right. Special thanks to tonight's Cycle Breaker sponsors, the Schwartz and Ferdman families, Kate and Ryan Ogg, Stacy Rappaport and Craig Solomon, and the Stardust Fund. Clearly, you all have a lot of supporters in the room. Your generosity sustains this work. And as always, immense thanks to Lisa Mueller, Susan Peter, and Jenny Kimbrell for Sanctuary's dedicated development team for producing tonight's unforgettable event. And now it is my pleasure to introduce our new video, Together We Rise.
It happens all around us. Behind closed doors, too many adults and children are living with abuse. Physical, emotional, financial, technological. Silenced by fear, trapped by isolation. We all know someone who has experienced abuse. In the face of a domestic violence epidemic, it's easy to feel whatever we're doing isn't enough, like it's merely a drop in the ocean. Sanctuary for Families is where single acts of kindness multiply, where all-encompassing personalized care could ripple exponentially, meeting survivors where they are, with crisis and long-term transitional shelter, trauma-informed holistic care for adults and children, staff and pro bono legal assistance in every aspect of survivors' lives, and professional training and career support. That's how survivors become leaders themselves. Just listen to Felicia, a powerful survivor advocate.
You've done the hardest thing. You've walked away from the abuse. You said, no more. Enough. You've transformed your pain into power. You are all here as part of a movement that's bigger than you, where survivors support survivors, and advocates lift each other up, because we're past healing just for yourself. We're here to create spaces where others can heal too.
You, our supporters, our volunteer lawyers, advisors, and partners multiply the reach of Sanctuary for Families. Thanks to you, harmful patterns of violence have been disrupted and replaced by powerful networks of safety, healing, and support. That impact ripples outward, through our communities, across cities, and into the world we're working to transform.
No one does this in isolation. We rise, and we rise together.
It is now my privilege of introducing to you a true rock star. This is a woman who is bold and brave and changed the face of child welfare law in New York City. This is completely insane. But the policy in New York used to be that if a woman were the victim of domestic violence, she could have her children taken away for engaging in domestic violence. It's hard to believe that was the case, but it was the case. And that's what's happened to Charlene. She was in the hospital. Her abuser had broken her arm, and she had her 2 children taken away. They were 9 months old and 4 years old. Apparently, this practice was going on all over New York, and with Sanctuary's help, Charlene became the lead plaintiff in a class action lawsuit against the Administration for Children's Services, and that is what changed everything. It is now my honor to welcome her to the stage tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, Charlene Nicholson.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Seth, for that great introduction. Are you ready to transform more lives? This evening we gather because we believe in transformative power of compassion. the power of one act, one choice, one moment to create a ripple effect of change. Years ago, I stood at a crossroad, broken, afraid, uncertain. Domestic violence disrupted my life and my children's lives, forcing me out of school, into court battles, and into emotional chaos. I felt hopeless until I found Sanctuary for Families. Sanctuary didn't just help, they became my lifeline. Judge Zaccardi, my incredible attorney, stood by my side through every court appearance, from family court to the Court of Appeals. Her support and respect for me restored not only my rights, but also my dignity and my voice. Sanctuary was instrumental in my landmark case, Nicholson versus Scabetta. They listened, respected me, and courageously defended me. Through their advocacy, we challenged and changed the entire system in New York. A system that has long silenced survivors. The ripple effects from this lawsuit were profound. Multidisciplinary collaborations emerged, attorneys fighting for survivors received increased pay, and the harmful practice of labeling survivor as engaging in domestic violence ceased. These changes created safer, more respectful treatment for survivors and their children nationwide. But Sanctuary's impact didn't stop there. Therapy sessions healed wounds for both me and my children. Pantry visits ensured my family never went hungry. And when I was ready, they helped me reclaim my education, setting me back on the path I had dreamed of. Today, I stand here empowered, not just as a survivor, but as a leader and an advocate. Every resource, every act of support Sanctuary provided has rippled outward, touching my children, my community, and beyond. My journey proves your support tonight isn't just charity. It's an investment in lives, futures, and societal change. Together, let's continue creating ripples of hope, resilience, and transformation. Thank you all for having me.
And now, please welcome to the stage our auctioneer, Lydia Finette.
First and foremost, another round of applause for Charlene. A bigger round of applause. And as she said, are you guys ready to change more lives? Thank you to the 5 people who responded to me on the right side of the room. The left side of the room, you get nothing. All right, the first thing you're gonna need to do is stop talking, all of you, immediately. No more talking, I mean it. Shush each other, especially that chatty person who's had too much wine next to you. All right, This is the paddle raise portion of the evening. This is a fundraiser. So in fact, this is actually the most important part of the evening. This is the only part of the evening because it's the part where 1,000 of you are going to get together and you're going to give money to give more money to this amazing organization than you ever thought possible. Yes, thank you. I heard you yelling earlier. Keep yelling, ma'am. So this is the other thing I want to tell you. I have taken 38 auctions this spring, and Sanctuary for Families is always in my top 2. What gets you to number 1, guys? You got to give me all your money. So this is the way this is going to work. We're going to start high. This is a paddle raise only. I'm going to be off the stage in 10 minutes. You're going to cheer for each other. We're going to have a great time. I'm going to lavish you with compliments. Then you're going to eat. And then you're going to drink more. And you're going to have fun. But first, you're going to give. So let's get going. The first level of giving, ladies and gentlemen, take a deep breath. It's a big one. It's $25,000. I know. Yes. And I just want to tell you that when I walked in here tonight, I thought to myself, is there some unbelievably attractive woman in a striped dress who's going to raise her paddle 10 seconds after I say $25,000? Where did she go, ma'am? Raise it up high. 317 in the front of the room. 317. But whatever, I already knew that because I saw her and I knew she was going to do it, ladies and gentlemen. That's just the kind of woman she is. Paddle 317 on my left. So $25,000 has been given. There are another 999 of you in this room. So I'm going to pause here for a second, just long enough to make it awkward for all of you, and look around and see if there's anyone cool, chic, and fun enough to do it. Let me see. All these lawyers. My dad's a lawyer, so I know your type. Anyone else at $25,000? Think about it. You were going to give $250 and you drank tequila, and now you're going to give $25,000. That's the kind of night we're having. Anyone else? You guys are so uncomfortable. I could be up here for 15 minutes. I don't care. I really don't. All right. Well, you haven't had enough to drink, but that's fine. All right. From $25,000, we go to $15,000, which is close to 25, but not quite 10. Anyone at 15? Paddle 207 on my left, sir. Next year, we talk about your seating, sir. Paddle 207 at $15,000. And paddle 111, the right side of the room, has come in hot on my right. Thank you so much, sir. He goes by the Silver Fox at his law firm, I suspect, with all that silver hair. All right. Everyone's like, so inappropriate. I'm like, whatever. All right. We've just raised, my God, you guys, just like that, $55,000. Oh my gosh. Ladies, 2 in a row, 468 and 237, just like that. Thank you so much. But wait a second, because now we're at $85,000, and you know what happens at $85,000 when we're at the $15,000 level? One more gets us to $100. So I'm just going to ask if anybody out there who's super successful and funny and probably has a lot of friends and has a yacht on the side, and people always want to hang out with them, but they can't because they have too many plans and they're all nonprofit related. All right. Anyone else at $15,000? It would be one more, and it would be so easy to just give it now. 375 on our right, ladies and gentlemen. She's a brunette, and it's cut in a bob, and that's the way she rolls. Not everyone can pull it off, but she has great cheekbones, and that's the way that works. $100,000 is raised. From $100,000, we go to $10,000. You see how easy this is? I only have a couple more, and at the end, I have a super special surprise. 398 on our right at $10,000. 772, 275, 378, 430, you guys have just raised $50,000. Anyone else at the $10,000 level? Because now we're at 150, and 210 takes us to 160, ladies and gentlemen. Anyone else at the $10,000 level? 443, thank you, ma'am. I love your pearls. Takes us to 170. You guys are kind of killing this, and you're getting close to my first placers. It's kind of a sliding scale, and it's weird. I don't really know how I tell it. Somehow I feel it. And we're at $160,000. Anyone else in this room? At $10,000. Come on, said someone, but their paddle isn't in the air. So that's the weird thing that happens sometimes. All right, from $10,000, we go to $5,000. We're almost done, ladies and gentlemen, and you're doing a great job. 933, thank you. 842, 704, 252, 306. That's the side of your paddle. Can you turn it a little bit so I can see? 758. 823 and 537, that's $200,000. 472, 944, 131, 666, that's a little weird. 427, am I right? 512, 924, 758, 387, 502, $5,000 more gets us to $250,000. 153 takes us there, ladies and gentlemen. $250,000 raised. Give yourselves a huge round of applause. You guys are throwing money at me, and I love it. $250,000 is raised. Let's keep going, ladies and gentlemen. From $5,000, we go to $2,500. Anyone in the room at $2,500? All right, here we go. 274, 238, 202, 234, that's $10,000, 708, 300, 540, 805, that's $20,000, 861, 722, 931, 988, that's $30,000, 605, 329, 35, 989. We are at a lot of money, ladies and gentlemen. Let's just leave it there. Where are we? I don't even know. All right, 771. Actually, yes, I do. We are at $290,000, ladies and gentlemen. 4 more puts us at 300. I'll just say it. 995 on my left. 396 on my left. What do you say, right side? Do you see how I had to keep turning? I kept coming back to you, but you've given me nothing, so I go to the left side. 475. One more 2,500, ladies and gentlemen. You know you can do it. 434 on our right. Give yourselves a huge round of applause. $300,000. What is this room? I think you're overtaking the last group. They weren't as well dressed. Also, they didn't seem as much fun as a bunch of lawyers. You know what I mean? You guys are like, we do not know what you mean. All right. $300,000, we go to $1,000. Anywhere in the room at $1,000, I'll go left to right. All right. 912, 357. That is your brochure, ma'am. Oh, there we are. 330, 841, 456. 603, 705, 382, 476, 110, 301, 907, 493, 418, 766. Last year I told you a story while I was doing this, so this year I'll just tell you some things. My favorite thing in the world is Magnolia Bakery banana pudding. 224, 803, I cannot drink gin since high school. 998, 453, don't tell my parents. 578, high school was last year. 738, 389, but I thank you guys so much for laughing when I just said that, by the way. 368, better late than never, sir. 716, 227, 478, 311, 982. No, I never played basketball. Don't even ask. 293. I'm just like absurdly tall and in really high heels. 492, 424, 449. I think I told you guys last year, I'm from Louisiana. 410, 555. And sometimes I do this with a southern accent. 523, 892, which I also use when I get in trouble in New York because people assume that Southerners are stupid. I'm like, I don't know, help. It works every time if you're Southern. And even if you're not. 217, 544, 417, 250, 225, 365, 359, and yes, I am an LSU fan, obviously. All right, 959, 818, 819 on my right at $1,000. Give yourselves a round of applause. All right, now stop. I have one more level, and then I do have a really fun, cool surprise for you guys. The last level is 500. The next level is when the surprise comes in. So just give me like one more minute. $500 anywhere in the room. I'll read your paddles. Lady in red, 767. Is that right? Yeah, 767, 876. There's nothing quite like reading the wrong number for a really big paddle level, and then people go and they check out, and they're like, I did not bid 25,000. I'm like, I'm already gone. 392, 656, 563, 858, 394, 981, 800, 930, 204, 865, 370, 371, 958, 668, 567. What else can I tell you? Been an auctioneer for 23 years, 325, 422, and people are like, 23 years? We thought you were 23. I know, it happens all the time. 290, everyone's like, we did not think that. 302, 203, well, that's okay, because we're not friends anyway. 112, 218, 516, in which case, if you did think I was 23, then we are definitely friends. 770, 837 with two hands, 327, 744, 465. Okay. All right. I told you I had a super special surprise. Oh, sorry. Could someone read out that number on the right? Just yell it out. 308? All right. Thank you, sir, at 308. All right. Super secret surprise coming, as I told you. But also, if you guys want to donate like another $25,000, just let me know right now. Okay. You never know. All right. At the $250 level, I had this idea. I was like, what if we got a really amazing opportunity for everyone to be entered into a raffle that happens right now at $250? So if you raise your hand, and you look excited, sir, I see it. You raise your hand with the paddle number at $250. There's like an amazing surprise. So you're giving $250, but you're also entered into a raffle that I will draw from stage. So that would be super fun. So I thought to myself, like, who do I know who is super famous, like internationally known, like sexiest man alive, like all the things, and no one came to mind, but Seth Meyers is here. And so Seth said he would come on stage, and
I watched you texting all your famouser friends, and they were all saying, no, no, no. And I'm like, I'll do it.
yeah. I was like, wait a minute. All right, Seth, what are you going to offer everybody, or the one person from the paddle race who donates $250 by raising their paddle? What are you going to donate?
Okay, here's what you're going to get. You're going to get 4 tickets to see Late Night with Seth Meyers, or you can get 4 tickets. I do a monthly residency show at the Beacon Theater, me and John Oliver, one Sunday a month. So you can either go to that one, or you can come to Late Night, or let's be honest, I'll probably let you go to both, because if I say no, what are you going to tell me? You're going to remind me my wife works for this organization, so you got me dead to rights. So basically, you can have 4 tickets to see Late Night. You can have 4 tickets to go to the Beacon Theater. I'll do a meet and greet with you at one or both of those. You can bring your group backstage after the show. Everyone in your group will be allowed to ask me one question. But that is a hard, fast rule. If somebody says, is now a good time to ask my question, that's your question. So that is one of the things. And why don't we get it going?
All right, so really, this is pretty easy. If you want to be entered into this raffle, you're giving $250. Raise your paddle up really high right now. Raise it up. And again, you're giving $250 if your paddle's up. Someone's going to grab it. I'm not reading off the numbers. Don't worry, that would take all night. Someone will grab it. They will put it in a bin, and then I'm going to let Seth choose it.
Oh, I get to pull it out. This is very exciting. All right, let's see them all. Let's get the paddles. This
Keep
is
them high.
fantastic.
They're going to come
Thank
grab
you.
them.
Look at this generosity. And can I just say, if you go to a lot of these events, can you make some noise? Nobody is better than Lydia. The best auctioneer in New York City or any other city.
Even after the mean joke, you still.
But this was a good room, though. Let's be honest.
Great room.
This room kept it moving.
Lawyers.
They were worried you were going to bill the hour. All right, here we go. We got a lot. Look at this.
Alexi just bid.
Alexi. Well, she's never seen the show, so that would... all right, this is fantastic. When you consider that each one of these is $250, this is amazing. Thank you, everybody. Let's get them up here. There's one back there.
And it's impressive because usually at this level, no one gives. So this is really
very
all
good, yeah.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
All right, they're coming up. We want to make sure they're all here before I draw.
There's one over there, 412. Emily. All right, again, this is like a timing out situation. We're giving you the countdown here.
All right. I got a 412 right there. There we go. Somebody's got it. All right. Here they come. Once we get them all, I will draw. This is thrilling.
Thrilling.
What's that?
All right, again, if anyone is still wanting to give, just raise your paddle and they will come and grab it.
All right.
All right, they are being shuffled, just to let you know.
Okay.
right, you guys.
Can you walk on stage and I will blindly draw? All right. Can I find one here? Everybody knows I'm not looking. It is 420. 420. Where my weed at? Elena Frampton.
Elena Frampton, table 66.
Famous stoner Elena Frampton. And may I just, as a tribute to Lydia, I'm gonna do this a second time for someone, as a way of saying thank you to her incredible generosity as well. And the second one is David Jean-Baptiste, table 18. Welcome to the party, David. Looking forward to seeing you. Looking forward to seeing you, Elena. Thank you so much, Lydia Burnett, everybody.
Thank you, Seth. All right, guys. So if I have not taken every dollar out of your pocket, just a couple of things to remember. If you want to donate $100, $250 was not in your budget, please feel free to also drop your paddles outside and let them know there's a bin right outside of the ballroom door. And you can also look and continue to donate on your Give Smart tab. You can also text Zero Tolerance to 76278. You'll see the slides appearing. So if there's any amount you want to give, like you wanted to give $7 million and I just didn't ask, just actually find someone, don't text that. All right, it's now my pleasure to introduce the honoree portion of the evening. Each honoree will be introduced by video, then you'll hear from them directly. You guys have been an amazing organization, #1 in my heart. Have a wonderful rest of the evening. Good night.
I am teeming over with joy and gratitude for this opportunity to honor the incomparable Molly Gotchman, a visionary whose life's work has brought survivor-centered care and justice around the world. Molly is the consummate artist, abolitionist, philanthropist, mother, friend, and joyful warrior. She navigates these roles with the perfect balance of grace and grit, with a visceral understanding that silence is never neutral. Her art practice is a powerful declaration that justice begins with us. Molly's groundbreaking Red Sand project sparked a global movement of awareness and solidarity. With the simple act of pouring red sand into sidewalk cracks, she renders the invisible visible, honoring survivors of trafficking and exploitation and calling millions to action. Through her leadership and long-standing philanthropic investment in systemic change, she supports frontline organizations to amplify survivor voices, strengthen prevention, and demand accountability. Molly, we honor you not just for your remarkable achievements, but we thank you for your tireless courage, your boundless generosity, and your extraordinary heart. May the wind remain at your back.
Welcome to the stage, 2025 Zero Tolerance honoree, Molly Gotchman.
Thank you. Thank you so, so much. I really can't get over the generosity in this room. I really can't. Overwhelms me. When I started my learning journey in human trafficking, I paused my art practice because this work is so urgent. And my research on organizations led me to Sanctuary for Families. They taught me that trafficking is hidden in plain sight. It exists all around us, just like sidewalk cracks. Whenever I asked what organizations needed, other than money, they told me that they needed help raising awareness. So I held panel discussions at my house, some of you might have been there, and I talked to the same people over and over again. But Sanctuary's skilled and compassionate lawyers didn't want to continue to rely on survivors to tell their own story again and again because it can be re-traumatizing. So I was asked to speak about my art at Art Basel Miami, and I said, not making art anymore. But what if I created a project to raise awareness about trafficking? Okay. So I asked survivors how they liked this idea of putting red sand in sidewalk cracks to put the attention on the environment that led to the exploitation. And they liked it. So I went down to Miami and I put sand in sidewalk cracks, and it's confusing. People are puzzled. Why are you on the sidewalk? So they stop, they talk to you, and you can talk to strangers about something that you're passionate about. So that wasn't happening in my neighborhood, my living room. Anyway, so then then it got big. Survivors and organizations reached out They wanted to use the red sand. It was done in all 50 states, over 70 countries within the first 2 years. We've had contact with over 2 million people through the project. And I learned that participatory art really can change public spaces. And when you do the project, you see how these ripples, these grains of sand, can have a transformational effect, because these grains of sand add up and they transform the crack. So, like grains of sand, your time, treasure, talents, and ties add up and they transform things. And they're adding up tonight in this room already. And you came here because you care. And I like to think of the C in CARE as standing for many things, including courage, compassion, community, and commitment. All here tonight, obviously. You've all stood up for this. And now I finally allowed myself to return to making art. And I'm making work that I fantasized about for decades. They're large bronze monuments called Monuments to Motherhood. And I grew up with monuments to violence, not monuments to care. But when we care for something, we transform it. And when you touch bronze, you transform it. The oils from your skin transform it over time in ways you can't totally predict. Just like when we care for someone, we are transforming them in ways we can't predict. I have a podcast called Monuments to Motherhood, and I argue that these sculptures are monuments to all of us, because all of us practice care in some way. And I also argue that you are a monument to anyone who's ever cared for you. So your ripples, your care, your grains of sand will add up, and they will transform these women's lives. Care is the antidote to exploitation, and we need an antidote. So thank you again. Thank you.
It is my great privilege to introduce my dear friend and fellow board member, Kate Bieber-Ogg. In the past 9 years, Kate has chaired numerous board committees and currently serves as our board vice president and secretary. Yet her most memorable contributions have been her creative intellect, thoughtful leadership, and the inclusivity she brings to everything she does. A true humanitarian, Kate has always found time for meaningful volunteer engagement. She worked tirelessly for over 7 years to help 2 young boys from Central America achieve safety and immigration status in the United States, and has traveled to Albany to lobby for key legislation that helps Sanctuary clients. Kate knows how critical it is to engage donors in our mission. She is a powerful advocate and ambassador for Sanctuary who deserves to be honored tonight for her tremendous service and lifelong commitment to Sanctuary's mission. So Kate, a heartfelt thank you to you on behalf of our board, staff, and clients. And thank you too from me for your mentorship and abiding friendship, which I value always.
Welcome to the stage, 2025 Zero Tolerance honoree, Catherine Bieber-Ogg.
Good evening. A little overwhelmed by the number of people in this room. I'm here not because of what I've done for Sanctuary, but because of what Sanctuary has brought to my life. Over the last decade, when I've told people that I serve on the board of directors of Sanctuary for Families and explained that it's New York City's largest provider of holistic services for gender violence survivors and their families, a frequent response is, "That must be so depressing." I always have to stop them immediately and correct them. It's appalling that intimate partner violence is still so prevalent in 2025. However, Sanctuary is a place that turns hope into change, and that is why I continue to support them with everything I can. Sanctuary was started 40 years ago by a group of women who saw a problem in our city, when women who were being abused by partners did not have a safe place to go, when police would not help them, and judges and courts, even when they wanted to help, had little legal recourse. So those women banded together, raised some money, and got to work, providing shelter and counseling and safety planning. Our lawyers came up with innovative legal strategies that created precedent and advocated in the legislature to make sure there was legal recourse. They trained police and judges and lawyers and counselors to recognize when someone needed help and how to appropriately provide it. And over decades, so very much more. The founders of Sanctuary had hope. But to me, the most inspiring and compelling story of hope comes from the people who, even during the times of their lives that are unimaginable to many of us, believe that their lives can change for the better and reach out to Sanctuary. If a person in a home that isn't safe can believe that and find hope in the ability to move forward, shouldn't those of us who don't face those obstacles believe it too? The world is tough right now. There's a lot of uncertainty. It's easy to begin to feel hopeless. But I'm a child of the 70s. I remember the Think Globally, Act Locally bumper stickers. And that notion powers my involvement. That by supporting Sanctuary and believing that when a person who Sanctuary helps can change their life into a more peaceful and productive one, we're making the world a little bit more like I want it to be. Safer, more peaceful, more of a community. It's the lesson I want my kids to learn from Sanctuary, and the message I want all of you to take home tonight. By having hope and believing we can change things for the better, we can. Sanctuary is a shining example of this, as they do it every day. I hope you'll join me in supporting this tremendous organization and be a part of that change. Thank you.
I met Stacey Rappaport 17 years ago when I was starting out as an attorney. She provided me with mentorship. She cheered me on when I applied to Sanctuary for Families, and she celebrated with me when I landed my dream job. So I am especially thrilled to honor Stacey as she receives the Zero Tolerance Award this evening. Stacey is a passionate advocate for the advancement of women. She leads by example, mentoring women in the profession and spearheading women's initiatives. She serves on the board of UC Law San Francisco's Equality Action Center, which seeks to advance gender, racial, and class equality in the workplace. And of course, Stacey is a valuable member of Sanctuary's board of directors. As co-chair of Sanctuary's Board Advocacy Committee, Stacey has been instrumental in fostering greater collaboration between the board members and Sanctuary staff in support of Sanctuary policy initiatives. And Stacey has personally taken on some of our most pressing pro bono cases, and she's found great success for our clients. Stacey, I want to thank you for always lifting women up, for fighting for gender justice, and for your profound commitment to supporting Sanctuary for Families and supporting survivors of gender-based violence.
Welcome to the stage, 2025 Zero Tolerance honoree, Stacey J. Rappaport.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for being here. My path to this evening started over 30 years ago with my interest in the intersection of law and technology. At that time, I published a law school paper about this thing called the internet, arguing that the government should place few limits on internet content. Technology filters and adult supervision could protect children from pornography, for example. At the time, I wrote, maybe 30 million people worldwide were internet users. I could not have imagined that 20 years later, I would be representing Sanctuary and 8 other nonprofits in a case where 3 girls, ages 12 through 14, had been trafficked for sex on the now notorious website Backpage.com. The girls were suing Backpage for facilitating their repeated rapes, and the trial court had held that Backpage was immune from suit under the law I had defended in my paper. The case against Backpage was not successful, but it brought attention to what needed to change. Ultimately, Congress held hearings on Backpage. Its founders were criminally charged, and the website was shut down. This did not stop online sex trafficking, and this did not end the fight. Later, I worked on another case against a popular same-sex dating app where a vindictive ex-boyfriend impersonated the client, his former male partner. Men showed up to the client's apartment at all hours of the night, believing that he had solicited the violent sexual fantasies the ex posted about. This case, too, was not successful, and again showed that the law did not adequately address technology-enabled abuse and exploitation. It still does not. Sanctuary was and is a subject matter expert in combating technology-facilitated abuse. It is at the forefront of developing legal and practical safeguards to protect those who are vulnerable. I am lucky to work alongside these leaders in the field. I'm grateful to my law firm, Milbank, and to my colleagues at the firm, many of whom are here tonight, who make my work with Sanctuary possible. I thank my friends who are here to support me tonight and every night. Most of all, I thank my family, who makes everything possible. Craig, whose integrity and service to the community serve as beacons to me and many others, and my children, Eli and Audrey, who lead by example. I've been fortunate to continue my pro bono work with Sanctuary, in more recent years representing survivors of intimate partner violence whose abusers use the court system to perpetuate their control and abuse. To these clients, to the newlywed immigrant whose husband hit her and then falsely accused her of marriage fraud, and to my abused client who just wanted an uncontested divorce but had to wait 4 years because his ex-husband used the courts to harass him, I hope you have found true freedom. I hope your resilience continues to carry you through. You are not defined by what happened to you, but in many ways, the privilege of representing you has defined me. In closing, I invite all of you here tonight to define yourselves too by service to others. I ask you to support Sanctuary, to join us in helping those harmed by abuse. Your voice, your support, and your action can drive meaningful change. Thank you.
I am proud and honored to present Sanctuary's Zero Tolerance Award to Anastasia Dennis Schmidt. In my 4 decades of being involved with Sanctuary, I've always been really impressed that people who have great careers and wonderful opportunities choose Sanctuary and Sanctuary's clients as the cause they wanted to support. Anastasia is so much in that mold. For the past several years, she's been head of Sanctuary's Family Council, making sure that Thanksgiving dinner, Mother's Day, and back to school are celebrated and enjoyed by our clients. When Anastasia joined Major League Soccer, she adopted Camp Hope and made certain that every Sanctuary kid leaves not just with soccer training, but with a brand new soccer ball. And I'm very excited that Anastasia has been invited to join Sanctuary's board of directors, and I very much hope she's going to be part of Sanctuary's future for a long time.
Welcome to the stage, 2025 Zero Tolerance honoree, Anastasia Dennis Schmidt.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Marianne, for your kind introduction. Getting to know you and becoming more involved in Sanctuary has truly been a gift. Several years ago, I was invited by a friend to attend a Sanctuary Family Council meeting. I didn't know much about the organization, but she promised me I wouldn't regret going. Marissa, as with most things, you were right. I was immediately hooked. The staff and volunteers that I worked with led with purpose and conviction, and they were singularly focused on finding ways to improve the lives of Sanctuary's clients. One of the most important things to me is that my children grow up with that same sense of purpose and social responsibility. Volunteering with Sanctuary has empowered them to help address the critical needs of survivors seeking services, and it has provided so much enrichment to all of us. Having my kids do work in service of Sanctuary's mission is particularly meaningful to me, given the arc of my family's experience. As a young parent, my mother was physically and emotionally abused by my father. I have only the dimmest memories of that time, because she got us out. But she found herself with no money, no education, no home, and a young child to care for. Her story is not like those that Sanctuary staff hear every single day. She and I were lucky in that we had the support of our family. My grandparents took us in while my mother worked several jobs during the day and took classes at night. She put herself through school and, propelled by a very encouraging biology professor, went on to medical school to become a leading breast cancer physician. Since that time, she has saved countless lives through her clinical work and her research. She is a force of nature, and I'm so lucky to have her here tonight. My grandmother, who wasn't allowed to attend school beyond the 4th grade, believed deeply that if you give a woman an education, a strong foundation, and an opportunity, she can achieve greatness. And my mother proved her right. Sanctuary provides that foundation and those opportunities for women and families who don't have the safety net that we did. Sanctuary is truly a lifeline to so many. I am so grateful to my friends and my family and my colleagues who are all here tonight. A big thank you to my co-chair, Brad Ruskin and Proskauer, and Major League Soccer for all of their support tonight. To my children, Eleni, Alex, and Hudson, I love you more than words can say. And to my husband, Paul, who brings magic to our lives every day, I love you. Thank you.
Okay, can I get everybody's attention? Hi. You're not quite done with me yet. Hi, can I get everyone's attention? Hi again. Well, it is just about time to close the evening and head over to the dance floor with DJ Spinderella. But before you do, a reminder to everybody. Hi. Before everyone heads over to the dance floor, we want to let you know what we've earned tonight. Who wants to hear what Sanctuary for Families, what you have all earned for Sanctuary tonight? Tonight, with all of your help, we have raised $2.977 million for Sanctuary for Families. Thank you for making this such a wonderful night. Thank you for everything that you have given. Before you leave, don't forget to stop by the raffle table. Lady Gaga tickets are calling your name. The drawing will be tonight at 10:30 p.m. Thank you.